We got a shock jock here. Right?
Not, I mean, the bad pun aside. Let's just does anything scream more 90s than the idea of a shock jock?
Yes, exactly. And it was just kind of funny when it is mentioned in this episode, and it's just kind of like womp womp. That's why I was like, all right, I'll just say that because we don't really hear about shock jocks anymore. And it was just kind of
no, you don't.
you really don't hear about them
It's
anymore, right?
YouTubers now. Like,
Yeah, it's
that
influencers.
yeah, influence. I hate that term
I hate
so
that word
much.
too.
I'm
What are they
sorry.
influencing? I don't get it either. I mean, I would say like the last true shock jock was what? Howard Stern?
Howard Stern. Well, and that's what when we look at Leslie Willis, I really feel like the inspiration for her character is just a female version of Howard Stern. That's who I think of. I mean, am I wrong there?
No, you're not wrong there at all. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to DC Fan-imated. I'm, of course, Dave the Film Junkie. With me, as always, Mr. Scott McClellan. And yeah, sorry we had to do like an hour later, but sometimes Sunday nights things happened, and but we're here now, and we're going to talk about. Yeah, that's right. We're going back to Metropolis now, so proper introduction this time around as opposed to last week.
I just was thinking about last week going, you didn't do that. You really didn't.
I know I failed on that one, but I won't fail again when we go back to Gotham City. Don't worry.
The funny part is Dave doesn't know when we're going back to Gotham City.
I know that's the thing. It's like I'm gonna find out. Like I'm with you guys. I want to be surprised when we're gonna be headed back to Gotham City. But like I said, we're back in Metropolis, and we're getting our introduction to Livewire.
Yes, a character created for the animated series.
Yes, that's what I was like. I was kind of wondering about that, and I know like I was gonna let you like talk about the backstory of this character because I was wondering. I was like, was this wasn't something that was in the books prior to Superman the Animated Series?
No. Livewire was a creation of the animated series, like so many. But since then has actually become. She's been introduced into the comics, absolutely. But then also has been used in other mediums. She showed up in the first season of the Supergirl TV show when it was on CBS, and if you've been watching My Adventures with Superman, she's actually the first Superman villain in that show.
Which was interesting that they went with her like right off the bat. I mean, that's what I like. And I still have to catch up. I'm like behind on episodes of My Adventures with Superman, but I was actually pleasantly surprised that they went with her of being like the first, I guess you could say, Superman villain to show up to take on Superman. And I liked it. I dug it. I was like, cool, sweet, fine. I
loved watching the episode going, her powers are like Livewire. And then later I like stayed and watched the credits and went, oh, because it is Livewire.
Yes, okay, that's right. I was the same way too, because I was like something familiar about this, and then sure enough, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's Livewire. So I was with you on that boat too. But yeah, so we got her showing up, Miss Leslie Willis.
Do you recognize the voice?
Yes, it is Saggy Melons.
No.
Come on, I had to make that joke. Come on, does it not sound like her a little bit?
I didn't think so. It's higher.
Yeah, I thought I that's what I heard. With like, I was like, man, that sounds like Saggy a little bit, but no, it's not. It's not difficult to not. It would be too. You can't when you hear Lori Petty's voice, it's her. It's Tank Girl.
Oh, good. You got that reference. Okay, funny story.
Okay.
So for the Squadcast Media Patreon, we do Squadcast movies.
Yes, that's right. You did watch this.
We watched this. Yeah. I sat there for 30 minutes. One, the fact that I actually watched that movie, I'm a fan of this movie, but there was an interesting discussion. But I remember sitting there for 30 minutes going, I know that damn voice. Why do I know the damn voice? And I finally had to go to Wikipedia and went, she's fucking Livewire. Okay, that explains everything.
See, like when I think Lori Petty, I think A League of Her Own. So that's what I think about.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, it's been, the reason I didn't think it's been too damn long since I've watched that movie, because that's a great movie, but it's been a hot minute.
Been a bit, but yeah, she was all throughout the 90s and random stuff. But I remember I haven't seen Tank Girl in forever. So I was like, kudos to you when you guys
Good.
watched that. It's so I remember it being bad, but of course enjoying it when I was younger. But yeah, she was all throughout. She was in the also in the Army now with Pauly Shore. I remember that. She was in all kinds of things. She showed up. I remember she was in an episode of X-Files too. I can't remember which one that was.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, she was. I mean, she was all throughout, and she's still will pop up every now and again. But yeah, when as soon as you hear that voice, I mean, she has a pretty distinct voice, so it was not difficult to pinpoint that. So I that's why I was like, oh yeah, Scott's gonna be proud of me with this one.
Oh, I was, and you get the Tank Girl reference.
Exactly.
I was like, who has seen that movie? Because it was one of those movies that, like, when I watched it for Squadcast movies, it was the first time I'd seen it. Like, I've heard about the movie for years, but then I finally saw it, and I was like, man, there's a reason I'm just now seeing this movie, because I have to.
Isn't that character is it a Dark Horse character? No, I don't. I thought it's a comic book character. It's based on a comic book character.
It's based on comic, but it's because the
Dark
comic
Horse.
it wasn't Dark Horse, because it was Australian, or at least the comic took place in Australia. Okay. So it was an indie comic.
Yeah, okay. So it's just an indie. Okay. But yes, we get introduced to Leslie Willis, of course, is a shock jock. As we talked about at the beginning with this, and she is not a fan of Superman. She is not a fan of Superman at all. She does not like Superman.
So, I'm kind of curious, like, how much do you I mean, do you think she doesn't really like Superman just because it's going to get her attention, or do you really buy her story about basically,
No.
It's so hard. It, like, basically everything. It's the old everything comes easy to you argument with Superman.
Yeah, exactly. I think, like, I mean, that's what's great about Lois, like, kind of grilling her about, like, are you really all about, like, are you really doing this, or are you doing this because of this? And then even Clark doesn't even he sees through the little spiel. I mean, it's kind of like where we're at now when it comes to YouTube and everything, where some people are just like, they just, no matter what, they want to go hard on something, like they hate this, they hate that, and they just do it because they know that's what their audience wants to hear, so it's like, so Superman's an easy target. And I mean, there's even like a point where she she just goes on like a rant and says, I had to bust my ass twice as hard, because obviously she's female, and being in being in the whole radio talk shock jock realm, she had to like bust her ass more. So obviously she's going to go harder on Superman. So it's like, she's just it's like it's like her calling, because obviously what happens in this episode, she's not going to let up, because it's like, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do. Even if she doesn't fully probably believe it, I guess you could say. I don't know.
I know it's interesting though, because, the episode opens up in sort of that, if you're going to introduce a character who's on the radio, and I'm going to go for a deep pull. Have you ever seen the Terry Gilliam film, The Fisher King, with Jeff Bridges and Robin Williams?
Oh, I think I have, but long time ago. I know the movie, because when you said that, it something rang in my brain. But go ahead.
But I'm just thinking about, like, that classic way of, like, when you have a talk radio host who is, your main character. It's like you always get introduced to them by hearing their voice, but then watching other people listen to them on the radio. And that's exactly how this episode starts off, because you see Bibbo listening, you see Lex.
Good old Bibbo defending Superman.
Oh, it's Bibbo. Of course he's going to defend Superman.
Brad Garrett.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gotta love that voice.
It's fabulous as Bibbo. And then, of course, you get Jimmy with other reporters over at the Daily Planet. I love Perry just basically walking up behind them going, what the hell?
Exactly.
The funniest thing to me, though, is the crane operator who's all like, yeah, you tell him, Leslie. And it's like, oh yeah, let's see what happens to your ass in about 5 minutes.
And I love this, because when this is happening, this is, of course, Lois and Clark are being, I mean, they thought they were going to interview her, but then, of course, now they're like on the radio being interviewed, kind of like but by her. So it's obviously, and I love how Clark is just like in there, like full arms folded, just like, fuck, what the hell am I,
What the hell?
yeah, like, why am I even here? This is just ridiculous and whatever. And of course, yeah, the crane starts, yeah, that guy, yeah. And it's kind of funny because as that's happening, I mean, obviously Clark hears that the, as soon as he's like, oh yeah, the crane operator is all about it, and then it starts breaking down, and it's like, oh yeah, you're in a bad situation now, buddy. And
And who comes and saves your ass? Oh,
exactly.
it's Superman.
And then I like how, I mean, Clark does it so well of how, like, how to get out of there, where he just like, and then she's just like, what are you, am I boring to you? And he goes, actually, yes. He just,
Oh, it was so good. Once again,
yeah,
we've talked about Tim Daly's
yeah.
performance as Clark Kent and as Superman. And also, you got to credit the writers, but man, this is a Superman and a Clark Kent who's like not afraid to give some attitude or not give two shits and just be
No.
like, why am I boring you? Actually, yes, you are. And
Yeah,
just
and then
walk up
just slams the door, and then, but then it's kind of cool what they do right here with the episode is she starts naming like the three biggest gripes about Superman, and then of course they cut back and forth of him, because the first thing that she says is like, first of all, he's never around when you need him, and then the crane
he
operator
shows up
who's in,
when he
when
shows
he
up when
needs
someone
him.
needs him. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so we get this cool little Superman sequence of him, saving the day. And then, of course, it's not just an easy save because this is a crane operator that's working on a skyscraper. So this thing is like falling, from way above. And we got people down below. We got him. We got, it's quite a situation that he's in.
Oh yeah, look, because the second gripe is everything comes easy to him, and then as we've talked about with this
Yes.
Superman, his like he gets under. Oh my goodness! I
Whoa,
decided
watch
to
out.
knock everything off my desk. It wasn't easy for me apparently. And then he does the thing where he flies underneath the crane, and he doesn't just like one handed like lift it up. He's like got like both hands, and he's like, I can't
Nope.
hold this.
Yes. And then of course he tries the other approach of like, there's like a little ring that, that has like that could be hooked on. So he grabs that and tries to pull instead of doing this, because obviously he's still got the crane operator. He's holding on to the guy still, right? I mean,
Yeah,
so it's like,
he's
yeah.
doing all that. He's trying to stop this crane one handed, basically.
Yes. And then of course, naturally, what always happens when this when things are falling from the sky, you got a mother and a child in a stroller, and then people are freaking out. Yeah, exactly, because people are now freaking out because they're seeing what's happening. So she gets pushed back, the stroller moves forward, and the baby's like, yeah, this is fun, and realize, not obviously not knowing that, well, there's something falling from the sky. So it's like, she's always, you gotta love that. They always have to put that in. And then of course she says all he cares about is himself.
Right, as he like throws himself between this crane and the crane operator and the mother and the baby. Interesting thing though, I don't know if you noticed this or not,
Okay.
but for this one sequence of saving the crane operator, the animation changed.
Okay. There was something interesting. I remember seeing it almost looked like a glitch. I thought maybe it was a glitch, like when it came to, I saw it was something weird. I don't know. I'd have to go back and see, but I saw like a little weird, and especially when we get to the rain part, it gets a little weird too when it comes to the animation. But yeah, so it does change.
Yeah, well, because during the crane rescue scene, it's like the primo like mwah
Mm-hmm.
animation. And then the rest of the episode is just okay, it's fine animation. It's not the bad animation, but it's also
Mm-hmm.
not like the greatest. But for the crane sequence, it was weird. It's the first time I've ever seen in the DCAU. We've seen like whole episodes are like, this episode is gorgeous, or this episode. We talked about last week with Holiday Nights how that was different because it was 3 different segments. And so the animation wasn't consistent between the 3 segments, probably because you're like, okay, this studio, you do this segment, this studio, you do this segment. You've seen that before.
Yeah.
but but except for Holiday Nights is an exception because it was an anthology episode. Having a single episode and watching the animation switch back and forth, like you could tell, like different people animated parts of this episode. It was a weird thing because the crane rescue looks like butter.
Especially that shot of him just like doing.
Oh yeah, the shot of him trying to hold the crane.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's when you go. That's pretty.
Yeah,
that's a pretty shot. But the rest of the episode isn't like that. So it was really weird to see this one sequence in the episode have like the grade A animation, and then the rest of it just kind of like, okay, you're the B Squad.
It's interesting. It's interesting about that because, I'm with you on that because, like I said, like when it comes to when we get to later on, I don't know. It just seemed like, but then again, it could just be because I'm watching it on Max and it just looked a little wonky or whatever the hell. But yeah, so then after this all happens, we get obviously Leslie is still talking to Lois and basically talking about her big event that she's holding, and I love how like, when this is all happening, like out the window, you see like
it's subtle. Like it gets a little darker.
Yeah.
Like it's not like instantaneous. Like it's like it's foreshadowing in a way.
Yes, because you start seeing like dark clouds start looming in, like, oh boy, what's happening here? And then of course she's like talking about she's doing this whole event, and then, of course, when we get to the event, I mean, my God, I mean, this thunderstorm's happening. So it's like, well, wait a minute. And like, you can't do this. You got a stage. You got all this electronic equipment. You got people outside.
You have giant metal scaffolding in the middle of a thunderstorm.
Not smart, but she does not care because all she cares is about the praise she is going to get when it comes to this event that's happening. And she even expresses like, because obviously the cops show up. I mean, Lois and Jimmy and Clark are all there. It's raining. Lois is just going like, how has she not canceled this already? How is this not being canceled? This is dangerous. Cops show up. They're in like rain gear. I guess there's always a dude with like glasses and
it's her producer.
Yeah, of course, and he's like, hey, we got to shut this down.
No, that was 90s too, like,
oh yeah,
because he's got like it's almost the George Carlin, because
yes,
it's the balding like I'm familiar with, but at least I have the decency to like have a buzz cut like the whole way. I don't try to grow out the ponytail.
Give it another 10 years, Scott. You're gonna grow a ponytail.
I'm not gonna grow a ponytail. Like, he's wearing like he's wearing a business suit, but he has like a gold chain around his neck.
Of course, I know.
I was like, wow, this is screaming 90s too. All right.
Well, and it's kind of funny too because like when we talk about the Lobo episodes and you got that score with the electric guitar, there's a lot of electric guitar going on in here.
You know what? I was listening to it on my phone, unfortunately, without like my AirPods in, so I missed out. But that makes sense because Harvey Cohen did the score for he scored this episode.
Oh, so it wasn't Shirley Walker.
It wasn't Shirley Walker. Okay. And when Harvey Cohen does the scoring, there's a couple of things that I've noticed, because like when he did his Batman episodes, those were like those are like
the jazzy ones.
The jazzy ones, like A Bullet for Bullock, and those kind of jazz scores. But then he, I think, also did the Lobo episodes.
No, yeah.
I think maybe I have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, check it out, because I mean, I was getting those kind of vibes when it came to at least this score right here. I was like, okay, yeah, this is kind of giving me like the Lobo score a little bit, because you hear a lot of guitar in this, and I thought, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, hey, trust me, if you hear electric guitar, you're like, that's not Shirley. Like,
yeah, it's not.
That's not Shirley.
No, she's classical.
She's got that orchestra. Let's be honest.
Exactly. So, and then of course, Clark ducks out, shows up as Superman, and it's basically like, hey, you got to shut this down, and she doesn't want to shut it down. And then naturally, what happens? A lightning bolt strikes, hits the scaffolding, and just all the stuff. And Superman tries to save her, moves her out of the way, because she's just standing there like, Huh, fuck it. I don't know. She's probably high
I
on
don't
something.
know. That sequence was a little weird to me. It's
It
like,
was.
what
I
are you
just assume,
doing?
like, I know it's a kid's show, but I just assume she's like high on something. I don't know.
I
She's
wouldn't be
screwing
surprised.
up. Yeah, she seems like the type that would probably, do something like that. But I mean, at least he moved her out of the way and takes the lightning bolt. Obviously, he could take it, but then of course she walks over the other way. It lights up the whole thing, and then it just hits her right there, and we're
Right,
like,
and that's supposed to be the explanation of how the lightning bolt turns her into Livewire, because the lightning bolt goes through Superman first,
yeah.
and so there's some sort of it's not really a transference, but that's kind of been explained with Livewire, that's why the electricity affected her the way that it did, because it got affected by going through Superman and
Mhm.
then uh, attacking her. So that's
Well, I mean, let's face it, when it comes to lightning bolts hitting people in the DC universe, it has to go through other things first to give them powers, right? It can't be just a straight lightning bolt.
no straight line bolt. You're
You're dead.
toast. You're
You're dead.
dead. But you go through something else, and then powers.
Exactly. So, I mean, it just shows you right there. It's like, yeah, if you get straight up just struck by lightning, yeah, you're fried. But if there's like a little bit of something in between, like either, a
Some
bunch of
chemicals.
chemicals in a lab or, a Kryptonian, you're going to get powers. Okay. So, lesson learned. So,
I'm sorry.
okay.
The whole time we're saying that, I'm just thinking about Mr. Incredible from The Incredibles 2. You've got power.
There it is. There it is. Love it.
I always love Jack in those movies. I'm
Oh, dude.
sorry. I digress.
Especially in the second one, he shined.
Oh, he
Love
did.
it. He totally shined in that. It's a fun fact, in my fantasy football league, I have 2 leagues. The second one, I'm Team Jack because they actually had an icon with his face. I'm like, I'm gonna use that because I love
Oh,
Jack.
bravo.
Yes, I was like, I'm gonna be Team Jack, and yeah. So there you go.
I'll admit it. I have a Jack Funko Pop.
There, I mean, he's adorable. Come on.
He's adorable.
He's absolutely adorable. So, anyways, there's the tangent for today's episode right there. Okay. So, and then of course, so she gets zapped, and Superman does what Superman does and flies her to the nearest hospital. And
Interesting that her skin to color, like the hair and
yeah.
everything, like, one, it happens immediately when she's being electrocuted.
Mm,
Two, I love the fact that even the doctor goes, we can explain the unnatural skin pigmentation. Like, I
yeah.
love that. They even
And then
point
she
out the
also
fact
is
that
like, we can't even explain why she's still alive. It's
yes.
like, yeah. So I love that part where it's like, yeah, that we can't explain why she looks like that, and we can't even explain why she's still alive. That's truly. I mean, obviously, a doctor would say that. It's like she got struck by lightning. We can understand why you're still alive, Superman, but why is she still alive? That doesn't even make sense. So, and then of course the media. Oh, the media grilling Superman.
Oh yeah, that sounds like the media. That sounded like the media to me. I'm not
Yes.
gonna lie. Like, are you sure you really tried to save her?
But it's like, wow. It's like
Wow.
it just shows you right there because again, it's like you have this personality that has just been, grilling Superman, just totally just like throwing shit. I mean, literally, when we get introduced to her when she's in the studio, she's throwing darts at a newspaper that's about him, and you could totally just understand why the media is just going, wait a minute. Are you sure? Like, I mean, this person has been just like talking shit about you for so long. Did you like really just like think like, okay, like, yeah, maybe I'll just let her get struck by lightning a little bit. But that's so shady because it's like, really, Superman, what the hell? Ugh.
But she listens to that. Okay, no,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
here's the one thing in the episode that really made me like step out of it.
Okay.
And it's kind of it's a comic book superhero trope, but sometimes it just makes my eyebrow kind of go, really? Don't you just love it when people have these freak accidents happen to them and they discover they have powers and they immediately know how to use them?
22 minutes, Scott. 22 minutes. That's what they had to do. That's the thing. Yeah, it's very quick because she's like takes like a device, it's unplugged, and then all of a sudden she was like gonna throw it at the TV, but then it still lights up. And
Like,
then
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But then she automatically knows that she can turn herself into pure electricity and go through the outlet to get
Yeah.
out of the hospital.
I know. It's just like she just had a feeling, I guess, she's ahead of the curve. But yeah, it's just like one of those things where it's like we just got to get her quickly, to turn her into Electro.
I know.
Yeah.
Which is funny. And I saw the comment on YouTube about how she's like Ultimate Electro. And I'm like, no. Ultimate Electro is like her
because she came first, right?
She came first.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, but it is kind of funny because when she starts zapping her way through, and then we're like come on. How do you not have Amazing Spider-Man 2 vibes when when she's like on the screens and she's like doing all this kind of stuff, like right in the heart of Metropolis? It just reminds you of that scene. I'm not saying
because this happened in 1997. Amazing Spider-Man.
I mean, obviously, yes, but I think the writers and so they might have been like, we can do something like this. Nothing wrong with it. Hey, it happens. But yeah, I mean, this came out in the 90s. That came out 2012. I don't know when it was.
20. It was.
I don't even remember.
I don't even remember.
No. But still, it's like a cool little. She's just trying to let everybody. I mean, first she's like destroying shit. And she's still in her hospital gown, of course, and she's just destroying shit, telling people. And then, of course, I like how she just, she could just, I'm gonna turn hey, look at this little sexy outfit that I have now.
Yeah, I've ionized the items. I'm like, oh wow, you even know what you're talking about? Okay. Once again, powers.
Yeah, you got to suspend that disbelief big time, because all of a sudden she's just like this shock jock who just talks shit. All of a sudden knows like the scientific of like what she's doing, like how she's doing this, like how I'm doing this, and kind of thing. And then of course, it is.
It's little outfit. She's got her own little logo.
Which looks almost like it's like Shazam's logo a little bit, but it's just cut into like her dress to show the cleavage. Obviously, got to do that. Got to show the cleavage, even if you're blue.
She's wearing like basically a bathing suit.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, hey, what can you do? When you
with is it pixie boots or is it are they higher or are they more like thigh highs? Like
they're more thigh highs, because if you look even at the
I see it now.
You can see it like right up here. Yeah. So they're pretty. They're up there. They're definitely up there. And so, but yeah, she creates that, and then I love it how because Perry, we got Grumpy Perry doing that whole thing back in my day. We didn't have this computer stuff, and Lois just shuts him up. He goes, yeah. You
had to work 30 miles barefoot to work.
Yeah, I love how, because obviously after all this is happening with Livewire and Superman, she totally just blacks out Metropolis, so everybody's just got flashlights and candles and whatever the hell. But yeah, Lois just immediately shuts up Perry, because he's like, back in my day, we didn't have these computers and all this stuff like that. And he's like, yeah. And so I just like, come on, Perry. Yeah, we get it. But there's a problem happening here. We don't need this right now. But you got to love Perry, right?
Oh, yeah, I love Perry. But then also, as soon as Leslie / Livewire is talking on the screen, and suddenly she starts to like fizzle out. So, I mean, Superman immediately goes, oh, okay, you're running out of some juice.
Yeah.
But I really need to stop hitting this thing on the side of my desk.
What is it?
It's like a mixture of my phone and this box with a connector for my webcam and some cigars. Just
nice.
If you're wondering what my prop game is for this show, it's like phone, but it's like leaning over the edge. So every time I like flail my hands, because I can't talk without my hands, I keep on like smacking it. I gotta put this away so I can stop hitting it during the show. This is fine.
Yeah. Oh, the difficulties we're having on DC Fan-imated tonight, folks. No, but
it's live and it's
live. It's Livewire. Yeah, so she obviously is controlling all that stuff, and then the monitors start turning on. She starts like activating the fax machine, posting all kinds of like, pictures of herself making faces and everything.
That was fun though, because
Yeah.
as it's coming out of the fax machine, it's like one of those old fashioned flip books where
Yeah.
it moves. It's almost like
Yeah.
it's animating itself. That was kind of fun.
It was cool. And then yeah, but like you said, when she starts like messing up, like, and she's like, up, I gotta go, and whatever the heck, and Superman's like, I think I know where she's going. But before that, we have like, we have a plane that's flying, and then we got like a smaller jet, and they're about to crash into each other because obviously communications, everything's all screwed up in Metropolis. And I like how Superman just he just like, move it out of the way.
You're the small one.
Yeah, exactly. Let me just nudge you this way because I'm not going to move the big one. That's going to be a little. And again, I mean, I just like that because it's like smart. Superman was smart. Even though I am super strong, I still have limitations a little bit. So I'm going to move the small one, not the big one, because so it was good. I like that.
Yeah, and then of course she goes to She goes to the dam.
Yeah.
She goes to this hydroelectric plant, and she's just once again comic book science. Like, oh yes, there's going to be this giant pool of just electricity that she's just going to stick her hands into and absorb.
22 minutes, Scott.
2 minutes.
You got to remember that. It's got to remember they got to fit that in there. And it's like, yeah, I know. I get it. Because
I do appreciate though that he brings like insulated gloves to like fight her, because once again, the Superman has limitations. He's gonna get electrocuted. Like he can't get electrified. So he gets
not
gloves.
Comfortable. It's not like he just stands there. No, it rocks him. It knocks him. It like he feels it. He feels it. So yeah, it's not like he's just like, what are you talking about? It's not. So he and I like that too. It's just kind of cool. Like he shows up and he has some rope or something. Like
I was trying to figure out.
It's not rope. It's like cable or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's cable or maybe like some rubber. Because in my mind, I was thinking it was like rubber because rubber's an insulent. So
yeah, exactly. So maybe it's like a hose type, but it might just be like normal, just like thick coax cable or something like that he got. I don't know. Like it could be something.
I think we're overthinking this.
Yeah, I think we're especially since we were like giving it shit that everything's too easy. Now we're like fixating on
what was this cord?
Yeah, we must figure this out, folks. What was that he was holding? Damn it! Now, but I mean, well, we could assume it's something that's not gonna obviously
conduct electricity.
Exactly. So yeah. Yeah. So obviously we get like this little fight that's going to be happening with it when it comes to, and he tries to like lasso her with it, but it doesn't really work. And then of course this is where we're going to like jump into a clip.
Oh, the clip.
The clip. We're going to the clip right here after he's been zapped. He's sizzling, and we're going to go to it right now. Let's see. All right. Boom. All right, here we go. That's
keeping us waiting, Dave. Come on.
I know. I'm trying to go. So here we go right here.
Well, at least now we know you hit girls.
I love that line.
I love that line. Oh, I forgot she's got the gloves.
Yeah. Ouch. Damn. Gozer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, let's face it. She does look a little Gozer-esque, right?
She does. She really does.
Oh,
I love this one. Water.
Hello.
Okay, explain to me how she has a skeleton. But I love how she like knocks herself out. Exactly. But then, okay, cute thing here. Superman needs to do the hole. He's gonna do the heat vision thing. I love the fact that he doesn't like magically seal the hole with his heat vision. Yeah. Notice he melts the metal bar that's above the hole and lets it drip down and cover the hole.
Yeah, it's not like he's welding the concrete,
which doesn't work.
Work. So they were smart on that one at least. I think they had some smart things when it came to this.
Yeah. Once again, he's wearing.
You can hear that electric guitar a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. At least with that previous one. So then, of course, the power comes back, and
They're
then they
taking
do this
down
whole
her
thing.
billboard.
Exactly. Livewire grounded. Ha ha.
That's an electricity joke, folks.
Right. But then this is interesting because Lex Luthor is handling her care.
I know.
Then we get this crazy shot right here, which looks just ridiculous. Like, whoa. Look at
Of
that.
course, I love that because that we haven't had that in a while. But they used to be, remember how season 1 episodes always
Zingers
ended
or whatever the
with
hell.
those little zingers? Yeah. So
yeah. So I mean, it's a cool way to end it right there because it's like Livewire will return. You know, they might as well
just have put that title card, that cue card across.
She ain't going anywhere. She ain't going anywhere. And if I remember correctly, she interacts with another Superman villain at one point.
She interacts with.
I know with more, but I just remember one specific one that also, that absorbs. I'm just saying. I just remember.
Oh, okay. See, I'm thinking of another episode where she shows up in a different city.
Oh yeah. Okay. See, there it is, folks.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you got to stay tuned when it comes to DC Fan-imated. So there you go, guys. Well, there you go. Somebody actually said it in the chat. Litter teams have a parasite. Yes, that's what I was talking about. Jesus Christ. Thank you, King. 5942. Yes. That's exactly what I was alluding to right there. You got it. Because I was like, I remember something was like, I remember, yeah.
I remember that episode too.
Yes. So there you go, guys. That is Livewire, our introduction. Like we said at the beginning, this is a character that was introduced in this series, which is great. And then, of course, she's been, obviously, all the way till now.
Yes,
she is a character that is in the Rogues Gallery of Superman.
It's an okay episode overall. Like, if you want to,
I'll dig it.
Well, it's fine. I mean, I like it more for the introduction of the character than for the actual episode itself. Like I feel like there are better Livewire episodes coming.
It's almost like it could have been a two-parter, maybe. They could have done like how Batman the Animated Series did, like the Clayface and the Two-Face.
Yeah.
They could have maybe taken their time a little bit more, like because there's just a lot of things that are just
convenient.
Just convenient and rushed, and she just ought to, they could have maybe taken their time a little bit more, but I enjoyed this episode.
It's not bad. It's just okay, but...
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So what do we have next?
Oh, we're still in Metropolis, if you're wondering. Ooh. Okay. It's gonna be really fun because I'm gonna make you squirm a little bit with the episode title because it's not gonna help you at all. But the episode is called Identity Crisis.
There's a villain, right?
Introduction of a villain in the animated series.
Identity Crisis. I'm thinking because
okay,
it might have to do with a certain opposite?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we got Bizarro next week.
Okay, there it is. Because all right. I think I remember this. Oh, this is gonna be a good one. All right.
Oh,
cool.
it's a good one. Oh, it's a good one.
I remember. Yeah. I'm certain like it's coming back to me right now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we get our introduction of Bizarro into the DCAU.
Yeah, that's right. Identity. Yes. Oh, I just got goosebumps. I like it because I'm like starting to remember this episode a little bit. There you go. So there you go. Identity Crisis next week, guys. We're still going to be in Metropolis. And there you go. So make sure you guys catch that episode. Scott, go ahead. Send us off.
Well, of course, you can find me on X, Scott DC27, Instagram. I still have the hardest time.
I know. Just call it Twitter. Come on.
I really should. Twitter at McMurlin, Vero at Scott McClellan. Of course, you can find my podcast at DC Squadcast, wherever podcasts can be found. We're on Vero, Facebook, YouTube, with the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com. If you want to support us over at patreon.com/squadcastmedia, Tim just dropped our third segment of a recording session that Tim, Ray, and myself did. It is the epilogue episode of Scott is a Dead Man. So it's about, I tell the story about what happened when Heather found the Darkseid statue.
There it is. Good one to catch there, folks. All right, guys, smash that like, thumbs up. Or yeah, you were done, right?
I was done.
No, I was like, wait, did I cut you off? No.
Nope,
Okay.
nope.
No. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Of course, Film Junkie Live, 6 p.m. Pacific time. So obviously lots to talk about there. So smash that like, thumbs up. Thank you guys for tuning in. And like I said, Identity Crisis next week.
Me dumb. Me am Superman. Me am dumb.
Love it. All right, guys. Love you. We'll talk to you later.